So now we have a very clear, concise pattern of black male comedians hitting black female comedians when they are getting the best of them or not being able or feeling it necessary for them to use their words when it comes to a black woman. If you are getting too mouthy or if you're doing something that I don't like, I can just hit you to put you in your place. So Corey Holcomb has allegedly now joined the ranks with Katt Williams and Joe Tori, and we need to talk about it. So let's just get into it. So I first heard about stuff like this happening when Joe Tori was on this tour. I think they were like in Asia somewhere, maybe Japan, with Vanessa Fraction and some other comedians. They were going back and forth, trading barbs as comedians do. We all know what roasting is. We do this from very small. We start roasting each other in elementary school as just regular people, not even professional comedians, right? And we have been able to roast each other for years in playful banter without fights breaking out, right? And some of you are getting ready to say now, I've seen a many a time in my childhood where we going back and forth and then somebody's feelings get hurt and then they want to fight. Yes, but first and foremost, that's when we're children. And even if it happened as adults, you have to know that once you're famous and once you are actually getting paid as a comedian, it's a whole different level now. This is a different ball game. If nothing else, you need to protect your brand, your name, your career, and your bag. So when they were supposedly going back and forth in like a limo or Sprinter van or whatever, and Vanessa Fraction says something that Joe Tori just could not take and hauls off and hit the girl. That was the first incident that I remember hearing of with a black male comedian attacking a black female comedian for what she said. But I don't care what is said. The first time somebody stops using their words and starts using their fists, that person is the one that just lost. And also, as black women, we need to start putting people in jail for hitting us. So the Vanessa Fraction and Joe Tori incident was the first one that I heard of. And the way that they told the different stories or responded to it or whatever was totally different. Vanessa Fraction seemed to be still triggered and angered by it years and years later, whereas Joe Tori will not even address it and admit guilt or I think give a sincere apology publicly because the incident is now public. And then we have the incident with Katt Williams and Ashima Franklin. The thing about Katt and Ashima is at least Katt, rather than just hitting her himself, got other girls or weaponized other women against her to jump her or attack her as well, as far as what I'm understanding about the situation. But it seems to be that Katt Williams himself actually at least put hands on her once before the other women got involved to be used as little minions for him. Once again, it's always big bank over little bank. Whomever has the name and whoever has the fame, people let them get away with whatever they want to because I'm going to stick next to this guy because the light is on him and maybe he'll let me come on tour with him or help put more money in my pocket. There's no need for me to be in solidarity and stand on the side of right with somebody who's a nobody just like me. That's really how the entertainment industry works. When you wonder why all of these men that have been abusing people for years are just now getting their justice for it, it's because people are threatened and incentivized by that fame monster and promises of working with people in the future or whatever, or the threat of being blacklisted, really. They're incentivized into their silence. So this is why this keeps happening. The difference with the Katt Williams and Ashima Franklin situation is this. Ashima, whereas she's still crying over it and she was still triggered by it, even years later. What I noticed about Ashima is even though she felt bad for herself and the incident really harmed her, she kept saying that I feel bad for Katt and Katt needs some help. And you know, she's the mother of Carlos Miller's son. And I remember out of everybody who knew about that incident, Carlos Miller, shortly thereafter when it happened, when everybody was deriding for Katt Williams, and Carlos Miller was asked about Katt Williams in an interview, he said, I don't F with dude. I don't F with dude because he hit girls. He hit women. And he said that thing with chest. And it gave the interviewer pause. I wish I could go back and find this exact clip. But Carlos Miller said that and he meant that. And then I remember years later, he ended up working with Katt on a project and his tune changed. And I remember looking at him like, not you too, Los, because you one of the realest. So surely you ain't just forgiving somebody beating up the mother of your child for the bag. But then I had to listen to his word choice too. Like, you know, Katt, he's a really talented guy, but he needs help. And somebody really need to get that man some help. You know what I'm saying? So what is giving to me with the difference of Katt Williams is people really knew and felt like Katt was acting outside of his character. Meaning if he were in his right state of mind and he had some mental stability, that he would not have done that. And it was only then till I saw the difference in the answers to things that I'm like, what they're trying to say is the worst kept secret in Hollywood is Katt Williams is suspected to have some sort of mental illness or bipolar or whatever disorder. And therefore, they're not holding him as accountable for his actions as other people. And here's why. It's somebody's reputation. And let me just take my time on Katt, because I'm not making excuses for him. I'm just showing you all how you can tell the difference. Katt Williams has a reputation of kindness, helping people out when they're down and not expecting you to kowtow for him or bow down and kiss the ring, not throwing it back up in your face later. He just helps because it's the right thing to do. He has helped pull dozens of people up, and this is men and women. And not only that, how many children has this man adopted to where he don't have to take care of other people's kids? He doesn't. But he does that because that's the type of person that he is. And if you go back and pay attention that all over the years, you've heard multiple people say, you know, a Katt on them drugs. And Katt has been insisting for well over a decade now. Nobody has ever seen me do drugs. I have never failed no drug test or anything like that. There's no evidence of me ever doing drugs. And yet you all are recklessly putting that rumor on me. And when you, by deductive reasoning, with all things considered, all that I can come up with is that erratic behavior that does look like crackhead behavior and all of those arrests and fighting, you know, teenagers and all that crazy stuff that Katt Williams just randomly breaks out and does, when any other time he's very composed and well-spoken and brilliant. It has to be a mental thing. Kind of like a bipolar or a schizophrenia, some sort of manic episode type of thing. And now, once again, I'm not putting drug addiction on him, just like I'm not putting mental illness on him. But I am saying that he is the only person that I know of that has attacked someone that the people who are most affected directly by that attack still have come back later and said something to express sympathy and forgiveness for him, even though he was the aggressor in the situation. You understand what I'm saying? See, the difference with him and the last person that we need to talk about, Corey Holcomb, is I have no knowledge of Corey Holcomb saying anything kind about women, especially black women, or protecting them or whatever. I don't think that's a part of his character. I think that his whole shtick is more so doing the exact opposite. And so when you see how he acts, and it's crazy that 5150 is his brand of choice. I mean, that's bizarre, right? But when you know of someone's character and then you hear about something like this happening, it's a whole lot easier to believe. But what I want Cristina to do is file charges. This whole thing that we do as black folks with letting stuff play out in the court of public opinion instead of the court of law is crazy. Because you see what happens when the court of law comes into play, right? Tori had all of the I'm innocent, I'm innocent, I'm innocent in the world when it was just on the internet. But when it came time to say it under oath and risk perjury, quiet as a church mouse. So now we see people are still proclaiming the innocence of Tori when Tori couldn't even get up and proclaim his own innocence when it was time. Y'all had all of the smoke and all of the noise before and after the trial. But in the only moment where it counted for you to get up and tell your side of the story, you didn't do it. I wonder why that is. And also, nobody else was presented by anybody else who got on that witness stand as a possible shooter of Meg. So Cristina, in order to break the cycle of protecting the aggressors, put it on paper. If you file charges, then the police now has the right from the justice system to investigate, which means they can subpoena that comedy club for all of the footage of that night, and they can see for themselves whether or not the footage exists. The police could have compelled them to do so, and then we'd be able to see it. But also press charges. Put this man in jail. There's no way that somebody who can't take a joke as a comedian, that you're the first or the last woman that he's going to put hands and feet on. Trust and believe. Every time a comedian says something that's out of pocket or he's taking it too far or goes way below the belt, what they always say is, it's just a joke. I'm a comedian. It's my job to tell jokes and push the boundaries. They start calling people too sensitive and calling them snowflakes and all of this other stuff. Crazy to me how many times we see comedians having a complete come undone when somebody says something about them or does something to them. What happened to the being able to take a joke, right? But especially for black men, why is it that y'all roast all the time? But when a black woman cracks a joke on you, it's a direct threat and attack to your manhood, and you can't take it. And I'm sorry, but for all of the men who are defending Corey even before he has denied it himself, or even before the footage from the club is released or whatever, or what have you, when you don't know that this man is innocent and you're just automatically saying that the woman deserved it, shame on you. I can even understand being innocent until proven guilty. And I actually believe in that, which is the only reason I said allegedly at the very beginning of this, right? Because we haven't seen it. For you to be able to say he absolutely didn't do it and she's just clout chasing before you know, y'all just did this with Cassie. You need to stop doing this. Even if all you say for both sides is, I'm going to wait until the story unfolds, or I'm going to wait until the footage is released, and then I'll have something to say. That's the best, most neutral response that you all can give in this. But automatically saying that the victim is lying, y'all have to stop this. Because as we can see from history, more often than not, when a woman is saying, more often than not, there are exceptions to every rule, but when a woman is saying that she was abused, she actually was. Stop protecting degenerate black men. There are good black men out here to where if we would put more time, energy, and effort to uplifting the good examples and the correct answer than trying to defend the bad eggs and bad apples and bad examples, it would do a whole lot more good for the community. We don't have to twist ourselves into pretzels to find a good black man. And since we're in the comedic world, I'm going to end it with this. Kev on Stage is a prime example of a black man who is married and a family man who goes out of his way to give black female comedians shine and a spotlight and an opportunity. And he does so without expecting you to sleep with him on tour and all of these other things. He never puts himself in a situation to where he's alone with you in a room or something like that, to where anybody can even think or say that he did anything inappropriate. I just want to give you my platform, share my platform with you, and give you a time to shine. He has done this numerous times, and he does it with black men and women. There are black men out there who share their platform and support black women without expecting sexual favors from them. And if you haven't seen my Kev on Stage video on my channel, you should go and watch it. Because that is exactly how we should operate as Black people. As soon as one of us gets our foot in the door, not only do we need to prop the door open for everybody coming behind us, we need to sneak around the back, unlock the back door, and then run upstairs and open a window and drop a ladder out of it for others. Let everybody Black come in that's willing to work together instead of doing this crabs in a barrel thing.